Hi, I'm Megan Harper, 28, living in downtown Chicago. I've always tried to keep my life organized, my work on track, and my relationships intact. But some days, no matter how careful you are, people still find ways to throw chaos into your carefully structured world. Today is one of those days. I pull into my apartment complex parking lot after a long, exhausting shift at the hospital, mentally preparing to unwind. My heart sinks. There, in my assigned parking spot, is my brother Tyler Harper's beat-up Jeep, all smug and careless like he owns the world. I step out, ready to confront him, only to notice something worse. My own car, a small silver sedan I've spent years saving for, is missing. My stomach drops. I glance at the apartment office, only to find out Tyler already reported it stolen, grinning at the receptionist as if this is some hilarious joke. This isn't the first time he's done something like this, but today feels different. I feel a mix of disbelief, anger, and an almost suffocating betrayal. It's one thing to be inconvenienced, another to be targeted and lied about. Something inside me snaps. This has to stop. I clutch my phone, debating whether to call the police, my parents, or just walk away. But deep down, I know this is the tipping point. I can't keep letting him, or anyone else, treat me like I don't matter. Growing up in a suburban Chicago neighborhood, I was always the quiet one, the kid who followed the rules, kept her grades up, and tried not to make waves. My brother, Tyler Harper, on the other hand, seemed to get away with everything. He could break curfew, forget homework, or even lie about little things, and somehow my parents never called him out the way they called me. My mother, Linda Harper, was critical, but selectively so. She praised Tyler for things I barely noticed, his soccer trophies, his charm with neighbors, while reminding me constantly about the tiniest slip-ups. "Megan, don't you think you could try harder?" she'd say, as if my effort was invisible. My father, Douglas Harper, was distant, absorbed in his work, and more likely to shrug off Tyler's antics than defend me. I remember one afternoon in particular. I had baked cookies for a school fundraiser, carefully decorating each one, while Tyler had skipped the assignment entirely. When the teacher complimented the class, Mom gushed over Tyler's last-minute effort, completely overlooking my contribution. That sting lingered, like a quiet whisper reminding me that nothing I did would ever be enough. Even my friends noticed. My childhood best friend, Samantha Fields, would ask why my parents never seemed proud of me, while Tyler got applause for everything. At the time, I chalked it up to jealousy or bad luck, but now, looking back, I realize it shaped me. It made me cautious, self-reliant, and painfully aware that in my family, favoritism wasn't just a word, it was a lifestyle. These patterns didn't just teach me resilience, they planted seeds of doubt and anger that would resurface every time Tyler crossed a line, like today. Over the years, I tried everything to earn a sense of balance and fairness in my family. I stayed late at work to cover shifts so Tyler could take time off. I lent him money for his car repairs, even though I was saving for my own apartment. I swallowed my frustration when he borrowed my clothes, my books, even my car, thinking, it's family, he'll pay me back someday. It wasn't just material things. I emotionally invested in my family, constantly mediating arguments, covering for Tyler's mistakes, and trying to smooth things over with my parents. I remember one night last winter, working a 14-hour shift at the hospital, coming home to a house filled with laughter from Tyler and our friends, while my text messages asking for help were ignored. I forced a smile, pretending it didn't hurt, but the gnawing resentment grew with every harmless prank he pulled. I also tried to assert boundaries. I asked Tyler not to park in my spot, not to touch my belongings, not to drag me into his messes. Each time, my words were brushed off. Sometimes he'd shrug. Other times he'd joke, "Relax, Meg. You're too uptight." And every time, my parents laughed along, or worse, silently sided with him. The tension had been building for months. Small annoyances compounded into daily irritations, forgotten birthdays, dismissive comments, little sabotages masked as jokes. And today, with my car literally stolen by him, reported as if I were the problem, the pressure I had been holding in for years finally cracked. I realized that no amount of patience, sacrifice, or explanation had ever made a difference. For Tyler, nothing I did was enough. For my parents, my feelings were optional. And that realization, the bitter, aching truth, set the stage for the confrontation I could no longer avoid. When I finally confronted Tyler at the apartment office, his smirk was infuriating. "Relax, Meg. You're overreacting," he said casually, leaning against the counter like he owned the place. I felt my face flush with anger. "Overreacting? You stole my car spot and reported my car stolen." My voice cracked, a mix of disbelief and fury. The receptionist glanced nervously between us, and that's when my parents walked in, Linda with her arms crossed, Douglas looking tired but judgmental. Instead of defending me, they repeated the same lines I had heard my entire life. "Why do you always make things a big deal?" Mom snapped. "Tyler didn't mean anything by it. You need to calm down," Dad added. I couldn't believe it. After everything, after years of bending over backwards, they were siding with him, dismissing my anger as childish, my frustration as overblown. My hands shook as I realized something crucial. No one in this family would stand up for me. I turned on my heel and walked out, my sneakers crunching on the gravel parking lot. The cold air hit my face, but it couldn't numb the sting of rejection. I glanced back at my spot, at my car that was now probably being inspected by the police, at Tyler smirking like nothing had happened. I didn't slam the door. I didn't yell. I just left, and with every step away from the chaos, I felt a mix of grief and empowerment. Today marked the breaking point, the day I decided I could no longer allow myself to be treated like an afterthought. That night, I sat in my empty apartment, the silence deafening. My heart ached with anger and disappointment, but beneath it, a quiet determination began to grow. I realized something important. I didn't need approval, validation, or permission from a family that consistently dismissed me. I needed my own life, on my own terms. Within the next few weeks, I made a plan. I sold some belongings, carefully packing the essentials I truly cared about: my laptop, my journal, a few favorite pieces of clothing. I resigned from the hospital, citing a personal sabbatical. Then, I rented a small apartment in Denver, Colorado, a city where no one knew me and where I could start over completely. At first, it was intimidating. New neighborhood, new routines, new people. But I slowly built my life piece by piece. I found a part-time job at a cozy bookstore owned by Claire Benson, who turned out to be more like a mentor than an employer. I joined a local running club, made friends like Jenna Whitman and Mark Collins, and even started volunteering at a community center for at-risk teens. Every day, I felt a little lighter. Every night, I slept a little more peacefully. The anger that once consumed me no longer had the same power. It had been transformed into strength and clarity. I realized that leaving wasn't running away. It was reclaiming myself. Even small victories, like walking past a parking lot without flinching at someone else taking a spot, or laughing freely without fear of judgment, reinforced my sense of independence. My life had become my own story, and for the first time in years, I was proud of the chapters one was writing. It didn't take long before my family realized I wasn't coming back quietly. The calls started, initially polite, then increasingly manipulative. Mom, Linda, left messages dripping with guilt. "Megan, your father isn't well. You should come home." Dad's voicemail was cold, clipped. "It's time to fix this. Don't let Tyler take over everything." Tyler even tried reaching out in his own way, texting short, half-hearted apologies. "Hey Meg, sorry if I upset you. Can we talk?" I read them once, then deleted them. The empty words didn't matter anymore. Then came the more elaborate manipulations. My parents sent packages with sentimental trinkets, letters reminding me of family duty, and even tried to involve mutual friends in attempts to persuade me to return. They painted me as selfish or ungrateful in conversations with neighbors and extended family, hoping I'd feel cornered. But something remarkable had happened. I was stronger now. Every attempt to pull me back only reinforced the truth I'd already discovered. I wasn't going to let their toxic patterns define me anymore. I politely but firmly refused any invitations, ignored veiled threats, and consciously chose peace over chaos. For the first time, I realized that walking away didn't mean losing my family, it meant choosing myself. And that choice, as difficult as it had been, was mine alone to make. Sitting on my small balcony in Denver, sipping coffee as the morning sun lit the skyline, I finally felt a sense of calm I hadn't known in years. I thought about the car, the parking spot, and my brother's endless antics, and for the first time, I felt free rather than bitter. Leaving wasn't about punishment. It wasn't about proving anything to Tyler, Mom, or Dad. It was about survival, about reclaiming my dignity and my self-worth. I realized that family isn't defined by shared blood alone. It's defined by love, respect, and the ability to nurture one another. I've built a life where I'm seen, heard, and valued. My friends, my colleagues, and the community I've chosen are my family now in many ways. And every time I hear about someone else struggling to be appreciated, I remember this lesson. Choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's survival. Walking away from my old life was the hardest choice I've ever made, but it became the most empowering. Life isn't about letting others dictate your worth. Life is about carving your own space, standing firm, and thriving despite those who refuse to see your value. And that's exactly what I intend to do.